exciting moment for us as we head out to South Bend and welcome in Notre Dame star quarterback Riley Leonard as they get set to now host a home playoff game in the first round in this new era of the 12-team playoff. So good morning, Riley. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing great. It's good to see y'all again.
Good to see you again, man. We appreciate the time this morning. And you guys knew after the USC win, going to be in the field, more than likely going to be hosting a game. But we saw the footage yesterday from inside the football complex with you all together. Take us inside there. What was the feeling like amongst you and your teammates when the announcement finally came through that you'd be playing and hosting Indiana in the first round?
Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, everybody on our team thinks that, they can predict the future. So I had about 50 different possibilities that were pitched to me before the announcement. And then we sit in there and then you hear, the sports people talk about it for another 15 minutes. I'm like, dude, just tell us who we got. We're ready to go. But when we found out it was Indiana, what more can you ask for? Everybody was talking about, all right, it's a football state now. And we're ready to roll. I think the ticket prices are going for like $1,200 minimum. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's this first year of teams hosting playoffs is just such a special year, and so it seems like forever ago, that second game of the season when you guys lost to Northern Illinois. But how was that used by your coach Marcus Freeman each week after to keep you guys focused?
Yeah, we've kind of said it a lot, but I mean, when I tell you he brings it up before every game, just to kind of piss us off a little bit, he does. Like, it's crazy. Every single game, he always tells us to keep the pain and reminds me of that game and the rest of the team. And we just use that as fuel to the fire. I mean, shoot, that's like 90 plus days ago at this point, and we're still using it as motivation. So I think it's pretty cool that nobody's shying away from the fact, that we lost that game. I mean, we taken it with open arms. I remember after that game, we met on Sunday, and he told me, one day you're going to be thankful for this. And I sat there, I was like, bro, I'm never going to be thankful for this. This was terrible. And, in hindsight now, maybe he's right. But, yeah, it's been a long time coming since then.
The season has been a journey, there's no doubt. And for you personally, you come over here, you didn't get to participate much in the spring because of injury, and you come out here in the fall, and we mentioned the offense gets off to a slow start leading up into through that game. Now the way you guys have been rolling here, when did things start to click for you? When did you start to feel truly comfortable at the helm of this offense as the quarterback?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, that process, obviously it takes time. I think whenever I gain my confidence is really when the coaches brought to my attention how much they really believed in me. I'm a guy who kind of, probably needs that a little bit. And whenever me and Denbrock started meeting on a regular basis, I kind of understood him and he understood me a little more and the plays that I like. They started coming to me, hey, what'd you guys run at Duke? And what did you used to like? And what do you like? What do you not like? And really started to take my input into consideration when talking about the game plan. So I just kind of gained confidence in that. And I always say this, but like I've had more practices in this offense post NIU than I had before, including fall camp, spring ball, or any years in the past, obviously. So every week it's just like more and more reps helps a lot.
So, listen, you're the quarterback, you get the lion's share of the interviews and the talk. The Jeremiah Love, the running back, has done a ton running the ball. But boy, it really starts with the guys up front. I'm going to give you a chance to talk about those guys in a group of five, that old lineman that started as such an inexperienced line that dealt with injuries before the season, even dealt with injuries during the season, to what they have molded into.
Yeah, these guys up front here, I mean, it is something special. They move like a little mini, like military based, they have like a military based culture. And that kind of probably doesn't make any sense to anybody. But if one guy's watching film, everybody's in there watching film. Nobody's on their phones. It is straight business. And these guys are yelling at each other in practice. You got backups, yelling at, starters in practice, to get right, and vice versa. These dudes, it's just incredible. I mean, even on the weekends, if you see one of them, you're going to see 15 of them. Like, that's just what they do. Everywhere they go as a unit. And they just have such a great culture, man. They're hard-headed, but, man, did they block their tails off.
Certainly, that group has been special, and that standard has existed in that room for quite some time here. Dad mentioned your running back. Jeremiah Love has produced some eye-popping plays in here. What impresses you most about his game that's taken him to being one of the best in the country as a sophomore?
Yeah, I mean, this is a kid who doesn't say too much, right? I mean, you go to practice and he just does what he does, and like he'll just do the most random things. We'll just be standing there in practice, watching the twos go, and he'll just hit a backflip just because that's just what he does, and you see that in the game, and you're like, dude, what? Where did that? It's just natural for him. It's hard to explain, but he's a really hard worker, and everybody on the team really loves and respects him. I mean, he's got a great future ahead of him.
So again, after NIU, you guys go on a tear, haven't lost. You only had one score game. That was against Louisville, where you won by a touchdown, 31-24. But when, after that NIU loss, how many games did it take to where you guys felt, yeah, this is our team. This is what we are?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it took probably a little bit of time. Obviously, we come out after NIU, and shoot, I was so nervous after that game playing Purdue, because I was like, bro, if I don't play good this game, like, oh gosh. We ended up really, going out with a hot start there and kind of dominating against them. But I think it took some time for us to play probably Louisville, a good opponent against Louisville, to really understand, the potential that we have. And we left a lot out on the field against Louisville too, but just to play them and win that game was a good confidence boost.
DraftKings and DoorDash have teamed up to deliver NFL fans the action that they crave. Take a shot to play completely free throughout the season for cash prizes and DoorDash gift cards. Build a roster each week and compete against the field. Finish at the top of the leaderboard and you'll take home a lion's share of $5,000. Play now at DraftKings.com/DoorDash. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. Terms apply. See DraftKings.com/DoorDash for details. Must be an account holder to play. Big picture here, Riley. You came over here as a guy already very accomplished in college football from your time at Duke and what you and Coach Elko had done down there. You come to South Bend and go through all the things that you just mentioned here. What's your impression been twofold of Marcus Freeman and the job that he's done at the helm leading this program, but also being in South Bend and seeing what this program is all about in the landscape of college football?
Yeah, two good questions. So I'll start with Coach Freeman. I mean, this is a dude that knows every single person's name in the facility and like truly cares about everybody. I'm talking about the janitors' names. He's going to treat everybody, like they're the starting quarterback. There's a verse from the Bible that I heard, but treat me as you treat the least of us, talking about how you treat Jesus. And I think that Coach Freeman really treats everybody with so much respect, and he knows them on a personal level, and that culture just stems from the top down. I think our captains have done a great job of really respecting everybody because of that, because we see it every day in Coach Freeman. And then another Coach Freeman story. I remember I was being recruited and I wasn't even committed at this point, but I sent him a 2-hour podcast of Tom Brady, and 3 hours later he said, I just watched the whole thing, call me when you can so we can talk about it. I wasn't even committed at this point. So, that's just the type of person he is. And then to come to Notre Dame, like if you drive 2 hours in any direction from here, you're going to see a Notre Dame flag on their front porch. And that's something that, I'm not exactly used to, right? Being at Duke, you got UNC 10 minutes down the road, NC State 20 minutes down the road. Here it's just straight Notre Dame football in any direction. And I just love that. I mean, we go to Chicago, shoot, you're going to see a bunch of Notre Dame fans there. We went to New York City and we're getting stopped. So yeah, it's a special place.
So along with that, we're in a portal era, right? And as far as developing quarterbacks, that happens at some points, but at some, they're like Sam Hartman comes in last year for a year. You're at Notre Dame for 1 year as the quarterback. So you kind of jump into the Notre Dame situation for a year. What's the best advice you got about being a Notre Dame quarterback?
Yeah. Well, everybody talks about like being a transfer into Notre Dame, and I know everybody likes the kid that was here from freshman year, right? But I mean, I tell people, like, I would have been here this whole time if they offered me or they even reached out to me. Like I'd have been here on spot if somebody reached out to me if I was a high school kid. But the best advice that I got from here is just like probably living with no regrets, obviously, and living with no regrets, and then knowing who you play for. Whenever you realize like who you play for, and I remind myself all the time, you know, obviously number one, Jesus Christ, but two, the people in this locker room, that really dials it down. It's like, oh, you know, I'm playing for these guys who I love and care about so much, and they respect me so much as a person. It doesn't even matter, you know, my performance really on the field. It takes a lot of stress off of you. So that's kind of probably the best advice that I've gotten. Yeah, and to live with no regrets, let it fly, because at the end of the day, you're only here for a year, so you know your time's gonna pass anyway.
And you've done just that, and now it's landed you in a playoff seat here with a great opportunity. I know it's early in the process, Riley. What do you know about this Indiana team down the road that you mentioned in this football state that you guys are getting ready to face?
Yeah, really good team. I think they're really well coached and know what to do and when to do it. They're starting to understand how to do things and the why. It seems to be on film. They're really mixing up coverages in the back end. They run their main stuff, but they get to it in a lot of different ways, which can be tricky at times. So I don't want to get into it too much, but they're really well coached and obviously a disciplined football team.
Yeah, I know your head coach said yesterday he did Google Kurt Cignetti at Kurt's request, and the results are very positive. An outstanding coach and an outstanding coaching matchup here for these two, and a great situation for you guys, Riley, not being in a conference. You guys got to sit by and sort of have a mini bye this past weekend while everyone else was playing here. And I know you have some folks at Icy Hot that help you go and get right during the bye week. So why don't you tell us about how you prepared here?
Yeah, I think this past week was extremely important for us. Everybody says we don't have a bye. Well, we just had it last week, not playing in a conference championship. So, I mean, there are a lot of different recovery methods that I use, but I feel like Icy Hot has helped me out a lot. I personally use their lidocaine pain relief patch. So you just put it on, and they have cooling ones that'll help cool you down. So I put them on both my elbows, and they stay in place, and I pretty much just wear them throughout the day because I take a lot of hits. So my elbows were like busted up last week. But now, like after 1 or 2 days of wearing them, they help me out a lot. So that's just probably the most effective way that I found to recover after a game, but there are a lot of different ways.
Yeah, ways for athletes like yourself to recover and weekend warriors to recover with Icy Hot as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we've seen the physical style that you play, no doubt about it there. So that's certainly big and helpful there. Riley, we talked a lot about football today. I wanted to give you, we have about a minute left here. I know your grandfather has a foundation that you're very proud of in the Buy a Brick Foundation that's helping out folks in Zimbabwe. What can you tell people about the work that he's been doing over there and why that's so important?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. Obviously, you talk about this for hours, but pretty much around 20 plus years ago, he went over to Zimbabwe, Africa, and started building schools. So he's built over 40 school blocks at this point, multiple community gardens. And he's big on, teach a man to fish instead of giving a man a fish. So a lot of the stuff that he does over there is teaching them how to build sustainable communities, right? And he's done a great job of that. I mean, he takes, I don't know, probably, rough estimate, 80% of his income, and he just pours it all into Zimbabwe, Africa. And that's pretty much his life. He goes over there for 6 months out of every year. And I think the only thing keeping him in the States is me playing football. So whenever I'm done with that, hopefully a long time, I think he'll move over there full time. And he grinds his tail off, man. Feeding, they got up to about 20,000 kids a day at one point, but with the drought, in Africa or in Zimbabwe right now, it's kind of hard to do that. So they're trying to build wells as well. So they're doing a lot of good work over there, and I'm very proud of him.
Yeah, wow, and I'm sure awesome. He is very proud of you, Riley, as are we. So can't thank you enough for helping spread that message. And, for the job that you've done this year, man, it's been a ton of fun to watch. You guys have had a heck of a season, and one that gets to continue now as you get set to host a home playoff game. Congratulations on all the success, Riley. Best of luck in the preparation. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon. All right, man?
Always a pleasure. Jesus bless.